Welcome to today's demo on AltaSQL. We're going to demonstrate how AltaSQL effectively replaces the need for select star in Snowflake. This will enable you to more rapidly develop, test, and use existing Snowflake database objects. So let's talk about what AltaSQL does. AltaSQL automates generating SQL statements, primarily select and create views, from metadata contained in AltaSQL metadata repositories implemented as Snowflake tables. This results in improved productivity by reducing keystrokes and copying and pasting from scripts, reliable generation of queries that are shareable, consistent, repeatable, and reusable. This also results in new layers of convenience, governance, and reduced object clutter. So let me provide an overview of AltaSQL. Generating select statements from metadata is a core feature of AltaSQL's patented technology and process. AltaSQL architecture is simple, consisting of AltaSQL user-defined functions. These are delivered as secure UDFs via Snowflake's shared database technology, ensuring that your data is secure, as we have no way to see or touch your data. Metadata repositories that are initially created by importing metadata from Snowflake information schema into Snowflake tables in your environment. Typically, all the tables and views in a Snowflake schema are imported. Repositories are organized as named view definitions consisting of all rows in a repository having the same value for the table's view name column. Repository creation provides view definitions for all imported Snowflake objects on creation of the repository. Creating new view definitions from existing view definitions is the core of AltaSQL's patented process. AltaSQL generates select statements using view definitions for the resulting columns. This feature is referred to as virtual views, providing a named query for use in generating SQL select statements. So let's talk about what we're going to do in this demo. We will demonstrate how using AltaSQL's virtual view capabilities replaces the need to use select star from existing Snowflake objects. Virtual views are a core feature of all AltaSQL products for Snowflake. This demo presents the simplest, most basic end-user operation in the AltaSQL. This functionality is available to users the instant a repository is created. No additional AltaSQL transformations or metadata operations are used in this demo. This demo assumes that the user has access to AltaSQL functions and select access to an AltaSQL repository. The end user must have appropriate select privileges on the source Snowflake objects to execute the generated select statement. The end user is responsible for using an appropriately sized warehouse for the select statement execution. The Chinhook Music Sales Database is used for examples. AltaSQL provides a unique feature that we call ready-to-execute AltaSQL defined functions. AltaSQL defined functions make extensive use of optional arguments. This enables the use of named arguments when calling functions with optional arguments. AltaSQL defined functions simply ignore optional arguments when the value is set to either true null or the string null. This enables the use of session variables set to the string null as argument values. Simply edit the argument values to change the result of the function execution. This eliminates the need to rewrite the function call. AltaSQL provides downloadable spreadsheets of ready-to-execute AltaSQL defined functions. These calls are fully qualified with the AltaSQL shared database name and schema name. The schema name is always ASDF_schema. Some demos may use a deprecated SDF schema, but that is no longer in use. The shared database name may differ from the spreadsheet. You can edit this as a new. This feature enables side-by-side testing of different AltaSQL products. This is what the downloadable spreadsheet from the AltaSQL Files page looks like. If you look closely, you will see that there are two columns in the spreadsheet. The first column has the basic AltaSQL function names. This enables you to easily use the Excel search feature to find and filter desired functions. The second column contains the actual ready-to-execute function call. You simply copy and paste the function call into your worksheet, fill in the values that are shown as required, and optionally fill in the values for the optional arguments. Let's discuss the difference between an AltaSQL generated select statement and Snowflake's select star. Snowflake recently introduced 3 new features for select star: the rename, exclude, and replace keywords. These make it somewhat easier to use select star, but in order to use these features, you first have to discover or know all of the column names in order to build your select statement. This typically requires in-depth knowledge of the Snowflake information schema or described table, properly qualifying and typing when the source object is not in the current Snowflake database context, properly quoting and typing columns with mixed or camel case, spaces, etc. Trial and error executions resulting in unnecessary credit usage and wasted effort. AltaSQL's sbuild select function generates easily edited select statements, replacing the need for Snowflake's rename, exclude, and replace features. The columns are always properly and consistently quoted and qualified automatically. When working with existing Snowflake objects, full qualification ensures desired data source for the generated select statement, independent of whatever your current Snowflake worksheet context is. This lets you do multiple select statements without changing your context. AltaSQL has multiple options for qualifying columns and data sources. We will demonstrate these in other demos. The SQL highlighted in green is an example of an AltaSQL generated select statement. This is our equivalent to select star. All select statements from AltaSQL use column alias syntax. We call this select all. Note the automatic quoting and the full qualification of both the columns and the from clause. We will demonstrate how this improves on select star in the hands-on demo. Compare this to the Snowflake select. So let's jump into the hands-on demo. We've already done a little setup. We have a little script that'll save you watching me type. We've logged into both of our worksheets, and we've set both worksheets to use an extra small warehouse, which we call Tiny. The first thing we need to do is to be able to tell all of these AltaSQL functions which repository to use. We do this by setting a session variable, which we will refer to as the repository context. We generate this statement from one of our AltaSQL functions, which I have already copied from the Excel spreadsheet into the worksheet, and currently it is highlighted. We tell the function which database the repository is located in, which schema, and the name of the repository table. So let's go ahead and execute the function. And now what we do is we copy and paste it, and we execute it. So now that we have set up our working environment, let's see what all the view definitions are in the repository. We'll highlight this statement, which tells us that we're going to search the repository for the view definition names. And you will see that the view definition names represent all of the tables that are in the Chinook database physical schema. As we've mentioned, you can search the repository with standard SQL. So let's simply get all of the columns for the customer table and see where they live. In this particular case, since we're just dealing with a single object, all of the columns can be found in the source database, the source schema, and of course the table. So now that we've done that, we want to actually generate the select statement. Again, we copied and pasted the function from the spreadsheet. We simply left off the optional arguments because we won't be using them. We have the statement. We copy and paste it. We copy and paste it into our worksheet. We format it. And let's execute it. And voila, we've generated a new form of select star that, as we will see, is much easier to use than the standard Snowflake select star. So let's start doing some work on this. But before we do that, just ask yourself a couple questions. How would you get the equivalent in Snowflake starting from scratch? Once you have it, where and how are you going to save it? Of course, it's always available from SnowBuilder. So let's add a limit so that we don't have to see and constantly look at all the data. We add limit 10. We execute it and see that we only get 10 rows back. Let's do order by. We would like to order it by the last name. Now we could either try to type in last name, which since it's in camel case could almost certainly result in an error, or we can simply copy and paste it. And execute. Now we see that everything is ordered by last name. Now let's remove a column. We don't really need the support rep ID because we're not going to be looking for support. All we have to do is in Snowflake, where if you were working with a select star, you would have to type in remove and the name of the column. So now, you probably can't see it, so we'll need to scroll. There's no rep ID column. Now let's change the customer ID column and call it account number instead. I'm just going to copy and paste this so you don't waste time watching me type. I didn't quite do it all correct, so let's put in the quote. Let's execute it and see what happens. So now you'll see that we have account number instead of customer ID. Note again how we generate the select statement as column aliases. Now let's add a where clause and filter on country equal to USA. Where? And let's cheat and once again copy and paste the column name because it could have been something much longer. And put in USA. And now you know why I seldom do live demos in front of an audience. But you will see that the country is now all USA. Now let's remove some more columns. We want to get rid of all the contact information. So instead of having to type it in, we simply comment it out. Execute. Now you will see that we've removed a lot of the contact information. We want to get rid of address, so let's go ahead and get rid of that too. Now ask yourself how much effort you would have to put in to do these same queries using Snowflake's and select star. So now let's do one more thing. Let us count the number of customers by country. We're going to cheat and use DB Visualizer to comment everything out rather than typing it. So we'll comment the block, and then we'll simply comment out the postal code. We're going to get rid of order by last name, count. So going to add the group by. Let's see what we get. Well, we didn't really want USA, so let's get rid of this. So let's order the results by the count in descending order. And voila. Cut. So now you can see how SnowBuilder's replacement for Select Star lets you work and discover the data in your existing objects much quicker and much faster with much less frustration, far fewer keystrokes, far fewer handwritten queries, and probably a bit less frustration. Let's recap what we did with AltaSQL's version of Select Star. We ran 8, or maybe it was 9, I lost count, distinct queries by simply editing the original statement. No need of Snowflake's rename, exclude, or replace features. We did this with minimal keystrokes. We copied and pasted the existing column names from the generated text. We did not need to retype them. The generated source columns were fully qualified and properly quoted. The column aliases were properly quoted. We generated a fully qualified from clause. AltaSQL provides many options for qualifying columns. We will discuss that in later videos. AltaSQL select statements are easily edited to rename columns, exclude columns by simply commenting them out, add or replace columns including expressions, reorder by copying and pasting, and we could add post from clauses. To repeat, this functionality is immediately available when creating a repository from the Snowflake information schema, providing immediate gains in productivity. Repositories are typically created from and include all views and tables in the desired schema. Other objects may also be included. AltaSQL's replacement of Select Star improves productivity starting on day 1. Thank you for attending. My name is Jeff Jacobs, and I am the CTO and founder of AltaSQL.io. For more information on AltaSQL, please see our website, AltaSQL.io.